The labour movement understands this well. You've been with the PAP since the very beginning, long before independence. Our symbiotic partnership was born in a crucible of fire. Mr. Lee Kuan Yew started on his political journey by representing the Postal Workers' Union in the Postmen's Strike in 1952. He championed their cause and won them fair terms from the colonial government. When Mr. Lee and his comrades formed the PAP 2 years later, in 1954, to contest the Legislative Assembly elections, the postmen mobilized and helped him win his first election in Tanjong Pagar. You probably know this, you should know this, but you may not know that when the Postmen's Union approached Mr. Lee to act for them in 1952, when they first approached him, it was just around the time that I was being born. And so, when my father visited my mother and me in KKH, Kandang Kerbau Hospital, instead of admiring his new baby, he was telling my mother all about the Postmen's Union and his plans. As a young boy, I met many union activists. They would visit our home at Oxley Road for meetings, especially during election campaigns. I knew that my father was the legal advisor to many trade unions. I wasn't quite sure what being a legal advisor meant, but I took great pride in this. To me, the unions were on the side of the good, supporting the PAP to fight for independence from the British. So they were the good guys. And indeed, without union support, the PAP could not have won the 1959 general election to take power for the first time. After separation, with the support of the non-communist unions, the PAP led Singapore safely through the difficult first years of nationhood and took Singapore from third world to first. Tripartism played a vital role in this journey. The crucial turning point was NTUC's Modernization Seminar, 1969, which was when we replaced the old adversarial approach, unions versus employers, with a cooperative tripartite strategy based on trust and confidence. We formed the National Wages Council, established a constructive process for tripartite annual wage negotiations, and assured workers of their fair share of economic growth. We built up the habit of cooperation and mutual trust between the tripartite partners. In 1985, Singapore ran into a sudden, severe recession. We had to slash business costs to restore competitiveness, including by cutting employer CPF contributions. It was effectively a wage cut for everyone, and it was a most difficult and painful decision. I remember this vividly because I chaired the Economic Committee which made this recommendation. I was grateful to have the full support of Mr. Ong Teng Cheong, who was then the NTUC Sec Gen, and the union leaders. Together, we persuaded the workers that the CPF cut was unavoidable and that it would help secure their jobs. Fortunately for the doctors, the bitter medicine worked and events proved us right. The economy revived within the year. No other country could have implemented such a draconian policy, gotten unions and workers to accept it, and made it work. But Singapore workers knew we had their backs. And we still do. We will always have your backs. In the following decades, we ran into even bigger crises. The Asian financial crisis was followed by the global financial crisis, and most recently we endured the crisis of a generation, the COVID pandemic. But by now the tripartite partners knew what to do, and each time we pulled through with our workers safe and our partnership strengthened. It's not only during crisis that tripartism proves its worth. Singapore's dramatic progress would have been impossible without tripartism. Neither would it have happened had the PAP government not done its part. The PAP has worked hard to provide Singapore with a good government that you deserve. We've not only created prosperity and progress for our nation, but ensured that every Singaporean benefits from the fruits of growth. Through the symbiotic relationship with the PAP, the NTUC has done right by workers and helped them and their families to enjoy a better life.